Hello and welcome back to my channel. I haven't been on for a little while, but I just thought I would do an interview with my friend here, Susie, who's up on holiday for a little bit and she's going home tomorrow, so I thought I would grab a quick video with her. A little bit of information about her eye condition and when she was diagnosed and her personal feelings and her experiences, just like I did with Margaret. So hello Susie. Thanks for agreeing to do this with me.
Okay.
We have a coffee, there's nothing in it but coffee, I promise. So, maybe if I just start by asking, do you know the name of your eye condition that you have?
I have Usher's syndrome.
Alright, and what's that then?
You can either be born with it and you're deaf-blind, or you can go deaf and blind, or you can go blind and go hard of hearing.
Oh goodness.
Yes.
Very complex then.
Yes.
Mm. And how old were you? Well, you don't have to give me your exact age, but were you quite young when you found out that you were different?
No, not at all. When I was born with squints.
Okay.
And had to have 3 operations before the age of 4 to correct them. And in my right eye, they said that it was lazy, which is why I couldn't see out of it. So they patched me. Even though my father was deaf-blind and my mother profoundly deaf, not once did they think to look at it all. So they patched my left eye and I walked into lamp posts, fell over things, and they said it was a lazy eye, and I refused to put the patch on.
Right.
Just refused point blank. Time went on and I had to wear corrective glasses. And my left eye never did work. So they didn't register me as partially sighted, but for like my driving licence and things like that, I had to have yearly eyesight tests.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when I started struggling with a pair of glasses after about 4 months that I went back to the Specsavers and they referred me on to hospital down in Bournemouth, and they referred me on to Moorfields in London, the big eye hospital there, because they found pigment on the retina. So they said, oh, it's retinitis pigmentosus you've got. Okay, then they went into the family history, and also the history. I have a son who's profoundly deaf and I have grandchildren who are profoundly deaf. So they decided to do genetic testing, DNA testing, and that's when they found out I had Usher's. So I had to go for hearing tests, and then they found that I had a hearing loss. And then they told me I was going to go blind, which I totally denied, was in total denial, refused to go back for the hospital tests after a while. They were testing me every 6 months, and I refused to go back, just kept ripping up the appointments and wouldn't take the calls. My daughter was in the car with me one day, I was still driving then, and she took the car keys off me and said, you're not driving, have you been to the hospital? No, I'm not going, you have to go. So she took me, and I was really, really angry with her, and went to the hospital, had more tests, had the brain stem things, and he said, I'm going to register you blind. And I stood up to go and say, no, I'm not. And I couldn't find the door. And I tripped over the chair, denial is a powerful thing. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, and I struggled from that day onwards. I was very angry, very upset, and I thought my life was over, and I knew it wasn't going to get any better. That was the hardest part. And so they registered me as severely sighted, blind, and the rest is history. You know,
there's a grieving process, or
yes, there's a grieving process. And it's I mean, my grandson is 10 years old. I've never seen his full face. And as for the youngest grandchild, I've never ever seen her face. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It must be.
And
your brain had obviously, you're quite later on, not saying that you're old, but you know, you brought up kids and that before you were diagnosed.
Yeah.
That must have been extremely difficult, or was that you just something normal that you'd adapted your brain and your eyes?
I think you adapt. Like I said, denial is a powerful thing. You know, when you're in denial, there's nothing wrong with my eyesight. And I don't know how I did it. I can't tell you how I did it. I'd love to be able to do it now and get my life back, how it was. Yes, I struggled, if I'm honest. Used to fall over a lot, trip over things and blame other people, you know, like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did your family cope with that devastating blow as well? I mean, it was very hard for you, but your kids and that must have found it really hard to cope with.
Yeah, I think they picked me up. They wouldn't let me sink because I wanted to, but they wouldn't let me. You can do this, get out there. I had a very nice social worker, if you like, from the sensory impairment team.
Okay.
Making sure, because my work where I worked were really great. They got everything in for me, everything I needed to keep my job, they gave me. And the Natalie from the sensory impairment team came to see me just to make sure everything was okay. And she said, "Are you getting out?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I went out with her. I had a long cane by then, and we went out for a walk, and I fell over something which the stick had missed. And she said, "Look, how would you feel about a guide dog?" "I'm not blind, I don't need a guide dog." "Yeah, who do you think?" No. And no, I'm not blind. You know, even then I was still saying no, you know. And the stick, I hate the stick. I hate the cane. Yes, I've called him Fred. And I would quite happily put him on a bonfire. You know, he should have been called Guy Fawkes, because I would quite happily done. But I did get a guide dog, a beautiful guide dog, and he's now retired. So I'm back with Fred. So I'm glad I didn't put him on the bonfire. But yeah, and I'm now thinking about getting another guide dog.
Okay, it's a decision that I think everybody has to make themselves, don't they? You can't, whether it's the first or 50th.
Yeah, I mean, at first I didn't want one, and then I got him, and life was so much better. He gave me my life back. Yeah, and like I said, my kids won't allow me to sink, you know. They can be quite cruel. Well, you've met them. Yeah.
You're really, really nice, honestly. I really think you're very nice. No, I like the attitude that you have, and the, you know, the fact that they will help you if you really need it. They're not going to let you walk into traffic.
They're not going to let me fall.
Yeah.
They're not going to let me walk into traffic, but
they're not going to do what I've done the whole time you've been here, is watch that step, there's a curb coming up.
They won't do that. I've got to do that for myself. And I do, because I tell you to shut up.
Yes.
Shut up, I can do this. I can do this, honestly, I can.
My excuse has been brought up with a blind father, totally blind father,
Yeah.
you know, and being so used to saying there's
Yeah.
so many roads going up, so many
Well, I
curves.
must have been a wicked daughter because I never did.
No, well, we all have different experiences.
But yeah, yeah.
So, and your grandchildren obviously have, you know, just your nana and they accept you
Yeah,
and
I'm Nana.
there's no questions
One
asked.
of my grandchildren come stay with me every weekend.
Mhm.
And up until lockdown, I would take him out. Me and the dog would go out. I collect. And then lockdown happened, and everything's gone skew with for everybody. And then I have my granddaughter I pick up from school every week. I used to take the dog with me, obviously.
Mm.
That's all they've known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they're pretty good. I mean, well, you've been out with us. We took Little 'un to the deep, and she'll describe.
That was wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, yeah.
Yeah, she'll describe all the colours and what they are, and even when the penguins are pooping, she'll tell you.
Yes, described everything, bless her heart.
Even when the penguins poop.
Oh dear. Yeah, she was excellent. And bless her, she even had her dark glasses as well. So
She did. She
fitted
didn't
in
want.
as-
She didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb. Bless her.
No, it wasn't to make us feel comfortable, it was to make herself feel comfortable.
Yes, she was. Yeah, she does that often. Actually, she does. Yeah, I'll wear dark glasses.
Oh,
You don't have to. Yes, I do. I'm not going to be on one out.
quite right too, yeah. But then if she's known nothing different, then she's got nothing to compare it to or ask
No,
questions about.
no.
So,
I mean, they all keep saying, "When are you going to get another dog now? When are you going to get another dog?" As if it's as easy as that, but it's not.
a former.
Yeah, if only.